Hi everyone, I'm Allie. Join me as I create these kaleidoscope earrings featuring some rivolis and some crystal cubes. Remember, if you ever need any supplies, go ahead and check below the video. In that little show more underneath the video title is the description and links so you can get the full list from our website. In addition, if you're on a mobile, go ahead and press that little down caret. Gather up all your supplies, maybe a bead on it board, and let's get started. So to get started, we are going to be using a 3mm bicone. You can do this with other size as well. I'm using the Potomac crystal bicone. I have some size 6 of my dragon thread in the green color, a 14mm Rivoli, some SuperDuos, some 15Os in 2 different colors. So to begin, I'm going to start by making a circle with, or square rather, with my cubes or my squares. This is going to create almost like a stained glass window effect for the back of our kaleidoscope earrings. So the back is going to be nestled together, and then the front has that change in the Rivoli in the interior. With those 4 beads, we're going to let them drop down to the bottom of our thread, grab at the end of the thread, and simply tie it into a square. I'm going to tie 1 knot, 2 knot, right over left, left over right. And then I'm going to take my needle and thread, and we're going to go through cube number 1. So we tied a knot from 1 to 2, and then we're going through cube number 1. In between the cubes, we're going to add 1 of our SuperDuos, and then you're going to sew through the next cube. When they sit, you want them to sit kind of in that corner on the angle. So add a SuperDuo, sew through the next cube. Because we're doing a square, you are repeating this 4 times, 1 for each corner. Every time we go in and create a new level or a new step up, we're going to go past where we started. So I'm going back through as I add my SuperDuo number 4, back through my first cube that my thread was coming out of, through my SuperDuo, through my next cube, and through the second duo that I added. It just tightens it up a little bit. From here, we're going to step up. So the thread is currently coming out of the first hole of the SuperDuo. We are going to step up and have it go through the second hole. That's going to put a little bit of thread at the exterior of the SuperDuo. And now we're going to go around and create again more of that kind of kaleidoscope look. We are going to pick up a SuperDuo, another cube, and a SuperDuo, and sew into the second hole of all the SuperDuos going around the piece. So it's almost going to sit in like a herringbone style in that V shape. SuperDuo, cube, SuperDuo, over to the next corner and catching on once again to that second hole. SuperDuo, cube. We're going to keep going with this look till we have all of them, all of them in a line. So no seed beads yet, just SuperDuos and cubes. And see how they're sitting in that nice herringbone fashion. I have 1 more side to do, and then we're going to get ready to do our next step. As we finish up this next side, you're going to go back through, this last side I should say, you're going back through that start, going the whole way through to the second set of SuperDuos that you added. So remember, we're kind of locking it in and sewing right along the line that we just did. And you want to come out 1 of the sets of SuperDuo 3 in the corner. Once again, we're going to do a step up. So your thread's going to be going from the first hole of that SuperDuo in that corner group of 3 to the second hole. From here, between the SuperDuos, we're going to add 1 more SuperDuo. And then as we go to the sides of the cubes, I want you to pick up 6 15s. And I'm using a silver lined crystal. You could use like a gilt lined opal. It just gives that nice, almost leaded glass look that the kaleidoscope has. From here, go through the next open SuperDuo in the next corner through that second hole. Add a 4th SuperDuo in there to sit in that little diamond pattern. And then once again, 6 more seed beads. So I'm going to pick up these 6 seed beads, continue on to get all of my corners to have what are going to be the prongs of the piece and the seed beads that run along the exterior. Just like each layer, as we go in and finish off our sides, you can see I'm reinforcing or going back through my first set of seed beads that I did. I'm going to come out then through that second SuperDuo that I added. on this row that I just completed. And once again, we're gonna step up to the top hole of that SuperDuo. Give a nice tight pull to tighten that up, and you'll see how that cupping effect is happening that we're gonna slide our 14mm Rivoli into. From here along the sides, the pattern that is going to bring and come to the front a little bit is going to be a 15-0, and for this one I'm using a brighter 15-0 seed bead. My cube, 15-0, SuperDuo, 15-0, cube, 15-0. So that's your rotation of your beads, and from there you're going to sew into the next side prong, wrapping around the piece. So again then, 15, cube, 15, SuperDuo, 15, cube, 15, onto the next corner. So at this point, we have 4 more SuperDuos basically in each corner and our little basket that we're going to put our 15 or our 14mm Rivoli in. I've gone back through and I have my thread coming out the second SuperDuo that I added along those sides. I'm going to step up going through the second hole of that SuperDuo, and now we're going to fold all of these last SuperDuos that we did in towards the interior. Between each SuperDuo, we're going to add 1 15, grab the next second hole of the next SuperDuo, and see how that starts to close up our bezel. Grab a 15, go to that next SuperDuo. So this is kind of a netting that we're doing, closing this up, grabbing the next one, going through, grabbing the next one, back through the beginning. So now I've gone through all of my SuperDuos. I'm going to play around and kind of hold my Rivoli in there. And look, when you start to pull tight and you push that Rivoli down into that bezel and into that little bowl, see how it's starting to create that perfect little kaleidoscope. From here, I'm going to reinforce. So I'm going back through all of my 15-0s, all of my SuperDuos, and tightening up the thread as I do it. I kind of push, you can see how I'm pushing that Rivoli down into its bezel, into that little cup, and making more of a little rectangle box than an actual little bowl. You can see how that's starting to form. From here, what we are going to do is after we go through the whole area there twice, kind of pressing down, pulling those in towards the middle. And now what I'm going to do is step out or step back to add my wire guard onto my earring. And this would be awesome. Please post a picture in our Facebook group for beading and jewelry making if you decide to make this as a bracelet. I love the idea of putting wire guards and linking these all together in that nice multicolored mix, or even creating a fun necklace with those kaleidoscope colors. To step down, what we're going to do is go from the innermost hole of the SuperDuo to the outer hole of the SuperDuo in the center. From here, we're going to get to the exterior by going through, you saw me go through the 15, crystal 15 towards that exterior. Then what we're going to do is come out the back of the SuperDuo. So you can see my thread, I'm turning from one hole to the other hole, coming out the back of it, giving a nice tight pull. And then here where the SuperDuo is coming out, that's where we're going to attach our wire guard. You can attach it further back if you want to between the 2 SuperDuos in that triangle. I'm doing it right to the front. And I love these earrings that when you're looking at them, they can kind of turn in your ear and it does not matter because you have a design on both sides. Also, the benefit is that the Rivoli is going to be completely covered in the back. So that way you have the opportunity to not have it scratch on anything. If you want to, you can even have fun like I did here with a completely clear crystal Rivoli, and you can, it's hard to see in this light, but see how you can see through it and the colors to the back in that true kaleidoscope form. Also, I love using the like colors. So green on green, I mean, it is a blingy sparkle. So here coming out of that SuperDuo, I'm just gonna grab 1 15. Actually, with this one, I did not. You can add a 15. I'm gonna make it match its pair. Going up through the wire guard or the wire protector, coming down through that wire guard. And then what I'm going to do is go through that same hole of the SuperDuo, but coming in from the opposite side. That's going to round out that wire guard, so that way it sits directly on top of that SuperDuo. Once you have it reinforced a second time, going up through the wire guard, always a great idea to reinforce. Come down through the other side and always take your thread back to where you started to make sure, again, that that wire guard stays centered. From here, all I need to do is bring my thread and needle back towards that starter thread and tie the thread off. So I'm going to go along the piece here, coming out, and making sure as I go around that my thread gets back along the thread line, that I'm not seeing anything exposed. Going back here, and I'm just going to literally circle around those central cubes, which is going to give me the opportunity to get my thread ends back to the same spot and to tie a nice tight knot, tightening it up. From here, grab your thread burner or your thread zap, and after 2 little ties, 1, 2, and do a third for good measure, go in with your thread burner and simply burn off your thread ends and then burn them down flat towards the project. And that will complete your fun kaleidoscope earrings. Thanks so much for joining me in creating these fun kaleidoscope earrings. Depending on what color you do and whether or not you want that to be see-through too, you can have a lot of fun with this little component, and it's so quick and easy. Remember, if you do want the exact details for the materials that were used or alternative color options, go ahead and look below the video in the description to get links to shop with us online. As always, you can comment on any changes you made or any modifications, or give a little thumbs up if you want us to keep doing this content. As always, thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for our next inspirational video.